Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to read a part of the book First Steps in East Africa, or an exploration of Harar, where Sir Richard Burton describes a situation where the Somalis were teaching him how to shake hands. Now Sir Richard Burton was an explorer, but I would call him most likely an intelligence officer of the British. And he tells us, in this book, he's telling us about his travel to Harar. This was in mid 1850s, and this book was published in late 1850s, a very old document, of course. Now, when I came to this part of the book, it might seem like just one of those things that you can treat as a by the way, but I found it to be very interesting because very recently, myself and a friend of mine were talking about handshakes, and we were telling our kids how to shake hands when you meet people. And the reason for that is that shaking hands is very important. How you shake someone's hand says a lot about you. It can say whether you are confident, you are not confident. It can say a lot about you. And it can also establish a relationship in a certain way. It can make a relationship go a certain direction. Just that first handshake. It can make people respect you. It can make people not respect you. That's how important the first handshake is. The good way to shake hands is to hold the entire hand of the other person as they hold yours, and then you shake hands strongly, of course. But many people make the mistake of going to shake hands and then they just give you their fingers. That shows weakness, and it's not a good show. Now, it is the same situation in this part of the book where Sir Richard Burton, and I'm surprised he was a very seems like he was a very well read, traveled kind of a guy, and you would have expected him to at least know how to shake hands, especially considering that he was sort of, we can even describe him as a diplomat. He was someone who his primary job was meeting people. So for him to have this problem of shaking hands, it surprised me. But maybe where he came from, the handshakes were not taken to be that serious, at least not then. Of course, today, most people take handshakes very serious, or how it's done. Now, I'm going to read a part where he talks about him basically being taught by the Somalis how to shake a hand. So he's talking about mundane things that were happening while they were resting as Zaylak, waiting for some things to be taken care of before he could travel to Harar. And he says, then provided with some sanctified Arabic book, I prepare for the reception of visitors. They come in by dozens, no man having apparently any business to occupy him. Door off their slippers at the door, enter wrapped up in their toms or togas, and deposit their spears point upwards in the corner. Those who have swords, the mark of respectability in Eastern Africa, place them at their feet. So I found this to be very interesting, the issue of having swords as a sign of as a symbol of being respectful. It's something that actually is common in East Africa than many people might know. Even among the Maasai, a man has to have a sword. That shows that you are a man. If you walk around without a sword, it's like, there's something wrong with you. And of course, these swords are not to be used for violence, or they are rarely used for violence, actually. They are just symbolism, and that's how it is. So he describes visitors coming to see him, and there is this habit of people walk around with spears. This is 1850s, so it makes sense that people walked around with spears, and once they come into the house or they leave their sandals outside, come into the house, put their spears at the corner, then come sit down, and then they have this sword, they can put it at their feet. So it's just telling us how people carry themselves. And then he says, they shake the full hand. I was reproved for offering the fingers only. And when politely disposed, the inferior wraps his fist in the hem of his garment. So he describes how the shaking of hands happened, and he's basically telling us that he used to give the fingers, and he was told, no, that's not the way to do it. You give the whole hand. And actually, that's how it's done anywhere in the world. People who know, they know you shake the full hands. The people who give fingers are people who don't understand the power of a handshake. So it's very interesting that he brings this up, and it's very interesting that this is where he came to learn how to shake hands like that. I found that to be very interesting. Those are my random thoughts.